The topic of narcissism is a very interesting one, because as an imam, most of the time when someone asks me about the topic of narcissism, I can't recall someone coming up to me and saying, I think I might be a narcissist, or I think I'm starting to develop narcissism. I can recall multiple times over the years, in fact, rarely a week goes by when someone says, I think my spouse is a narcissist. I think my parents are narcissists. I think my children are narcissists. And sometimes they're, at least surface level, they're right. But very few people will actually say, you know what, I think I might have a problem here that I need to actually work on. Narcissism. Go to Google right now. If you go how to deal with narcissism, it's going to be about someone else. As believers, we want to make sure we don't have qualities that will ultimately ruin us in the hereafter. Now, narcissism in the technical definition is a condition in which a people have an inflated sense of their own importance, a deep need for excessive attention and admiration, troubled relationships, and a lack of empathy for others. That's the textbook definition. Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah has this powerful reflection about the words that a narcissist is likely to start to utter, in which they have to interrogate themselves. He said a person should be extremely careful if they find themselves starting to utter ana, wali, wa indi. 3 words. He said if you start to utter them, if you start saying me, myself, I, me, to me, belongs to me, this is for me, I did this, I did that. If you start using I and me and my too frequently, then you need to be very, very careful. He said, be careful if you start to find yourself using these letters and these words too frequently. I, myself, me. He said these 3 words were used by 3. The devil, Iblis, Fir'aun, the greatest tyrant of all time, and Qarun, who was a very proud king, also a tyrant. Both of them, of course, in the time of Musa alayhi salam. He said these 3 words, ana, wali, wa indi, I, myself, me, were the vocabulary of these 3 individuals. He says, as for Iblis, Iblis said, I am better than him. And he said, as for Fir'aun, he said, I possess the entire kingdom of Egypt. And as for Qarun, he said, I earned all of this because of knowledge that I have. I got this. It was me. It was my intelligence that got me to this place that you see me. So of course I'm going to boast because I'm the one that made this happen. So he said these 3 words are very dangerous. And he said, if a person starts to find themselves saying these words frequently in their life, then they need to go back and they need to examine if behind the vocabulary are some of the traits of these individuals. SubhanAllah, when you read about narcissism, deflection is the first reaction of every narcissist. They always deflect. Why? Because deflection is the opposite of responsibility. A narcissist never takes ownership. They never actually own up. They never take responsibility. They immediately deflect. Deflection is the defense mechanism. So Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala says, when you start to say I, and you start to see someone as inherently less than you, for whatever the reason is, take a step back. Because the bad behavior towards them is often an indication of the way that you see them. And you wouldn't see them as lower if you didn't see yourself as higher. That's why when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says mockery, don't mock people because they might be better than you. You mock someone because you think that they've inherently fallen in value or that you have a greater value than them. So you start to mock them. They might actually be better than you. So take a step back and don't say ana frequently. Ditch the I statement. And Ibn al-Qayyim rahimahullah ta'ala said, instead replace it with I am the one who sins. I am the one who seeks forgiveness. I am the one in need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But take away I if it's coming in the capacity of reflecting some sort of superiority in your mind.